everyone, Kim here. The purpose of this video is to tell you all what my MS story is. This is my very first YouTube video. I've been watching a lot of the YouTube videos for the last couple of months, but this is the first one that I've posted, really because I was waiting for my official diagnosis of MS, which I did get yesterday. March 26, 2010 is the magic date for me, even though I've known for a while now that it was coming. My doctor's pretty conservative, so he was waiting for the final lumbar puncture results. He wanted to do a second one, so we got the results from that, and now it's official. So what I wanted to do was just talk about my story, but before I got started, I just wanted to say thank you so much to some of the people that have posted such great videos, because over the past couple of months while I've been in limbo waiting for my diagnosis, really for the past year and a half, so many people have been so open and honest in their videos, and I cannot tell you how much comfort it's brought me. Specifically MS Girl Online, Irish Bear, Carrie, Kez, if I'm saying that right, Lauren, Parrot, I hope I'm not missing anyone, Pink Jess UK, thank you all so much, because I really can't convey how much it has meant to me. I've spent hours watching your videos, and I've learned so much, and I've just taken so much from you and so much comfort, because as much as my family and my friends have tried to be there for me while all this is going on, they don't understand what I'm going through, and you do. So even though we've never met, I just have taken so much comfort from you, so thank you. So anyway, here's my story. It started about 6 months after the birth of my daughters. I have 2-year-old triplets. They just turned 2 on March 12th, and they are the loves of my life. And about 6 months after they were born, I started to have a lot of sensory troubles. I was having a lot of tingling, numbness in my hands, feet, legs, and numbness isn't the right word. A lot of you, I'm sure, know what I'm talking about, because if it was numb, it wouldn't hurt. But there was pain, tingling, burning, generally uncomfortable. I had kind of a waterfall sensation in my legs. It would kind of go from my hips to my feet. It wasn't interfering at that time with me functioning through the day, and because I had had a multiple pregnancy, I thought maybe it was just part of that, because I didn't have a lot of people to compare it with, because I didn't know anyone else who had had a pregnancy more than twins, so I didn't really have a lot to go by. So I thought pinched nerve or carpal tunnel, maybe in my hands, you know, so for a while I just kind of blew it off. So after a few months, I developed the hug. I didn't know what it was at the time. All of a sudden it felt like I had a girdle or a corset inside of my abdomen. So once this happened, I knew something was wrong and I needed to go see a doctor. So I went to my primary doctor, and after I went to this appointment, he was not my doctor anymore, and you'll know why after this story. I went prepared. I'm not someone who goes to the doctor a lot, not as often as I should. So I went with my list. Aside from the hug and the numbness and tingling that I had mentioned, I also started to have a lot of weakness. It was getting harder to type at work. The fatigue was getting to be crazy. I mean, I was tired all the time, more than just from taking care of the kids and working in the normal fatigue that we all get just from life. I was having memory problems, concentration, something just wasn't right. So I went in with my list of symptoms to talk to him. And he could not have been more aloof, downright rude. Pretty much told me that I was postpartum, gave me a pill for an antidepressant, told me to go home, pretty much have some chocolate, cheer up. Yeah. So I went home, not only feeling upset, but more so I was angry. I was very angry that I had gone to this man for help who had been my doctor for quite some time, when I knew something was wrong, was really wrong, and he wouldn't help me. It's not, something's wrong when you can't feel your legs when you wake up in the morning. So luckily I had a good insurance plan, didn't need a referral, so I called and I made an appointment with a neurologist on my own. So I went right in, got in within a couple of weeks. He gave him my list of symptoms, and he recognized them right away, especially when I mentioned, excuse me, when I mentioned the hug. He seemed to recognize that right away. And, you know, he did a couple tests, and he did mention MS right away. And I had done some research, and I'm definitely not a think the worst kind of person, or I'm always kind of the opposite. Oh, it's nothing. Oh, it's not this. But I had read some of the symptoms, and it was a little scary when I got to the, web, all these things that, these diaries when you can read, different symptoms of diseases, because a lot of it did seem like, reading about MS was reading a journal of exactly what was wrong with me. But so he ordered a cervical spine MRI and a brain MRI and lumbar puncture and an evoked potential test. I had 2 lesions on my spinal cord, nothing in the brain, and I had some 2 bands in my spinal fluid. So at this point my symptoms started to get a little better, so he was calling it something called transverse myelitis, which was, he said, would be an isolated incident. And he said, at this point we're going to consider you lucky, because if it's an isolated incident, usually people that have this transverse myelitis, a lot of times can't walk, they're in wheelchairs forever because they lose their ability to walk, it goes across the spinal cord altogether. You're lucky. So I thought, great, I was feeling better. He said come back in 6 months, but excuse me, you may be, this may be it. So I went back to my life thinking, maybe things are going to go well. So I think this is where we'll end part 1 and go into part 2.